The Utah Utes football program has been ranked the most valuable in the Big 12 Conference, and that's according to a new analysis from The Athletic. Joining me now live to talk about the reasons is KSL Sports Utes insider Steve Bartle. Steve, thanks for being with me.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Maria.
So when I first saw the headline this morning, just seeing the headline, I went, what? It wasn't because of last season, that's for sure.
No, definitely not. It was certainly an attention-grabbing headline, to say the least. But I think, actually when you dive into the article and it explains, what went into it, it makes a lot of sense. There's more factors than just the Utah football team that went into it, and I think it was actually really enlightening in terms of what it says of Salt Lake City itself.
Yeah, describe for us what some of the factors were in this analysis.
Yeah, so obviously the big thing was, this was an article that highlighted essentially, if these college programs were for sale, much like professional organizations, are at times, what would their value be? And there's a number of different factors that go into that, from, population in and around the football program, the university itself, to population trajectories and that sort of thing. And then also, the football program's success in recent years. So championships, conference championships, bowl success, all of those things went into it where, you look at the list and Utah's ranked, I believe it was 29th, 30th, in the country, tops in the Big 12, ahead of, some programs, ahead of TCU, which was the only other Big 12 program included in that list, which is in the heart of Dallas, Fort Worth. I think it says a lot of Kyle Whittingham's football program. It says a lot of the University of Utah and their trajectory in terms of, what Mark Harlan, what President Randall are doing with the school, and then also of Salt Lake City and just the growth that we're seeing here in our state.
So what does it say about the coach?
Well, it says obviously that there's success here, right? Coming off of a rough season, you wouldn't expect to see Utah included in a list like this. But you gotta remember, like, this is much bigger than just one season and all of that. So Utah's recently won 2 Pac-12 championships. They've been to 2 other Pac-12 championship games, in the last 7-8 years. And it just speaks to the success that Whittingham has enjoyed, how he's built his program, and sort of, the value that he has as one of the top 10 coaches in the country. He's well regarded. He has a lot of respect. He's a well-known name. And I think his name carries a lot of value for Utah itself.
So how do you think the team is going to do this year?
I think this is going to be a bounce-back year for Utah. I think, it's always unfortunate when you see star players struggle with injuries in the way that, Cam Rising and a Brant Keithy did. And that certainly had a significant impact on Utah's ability to find success last year. Isaac Wilson, struggled through his true freshman year in the program. Utah made significant changes this offseason, especially on that offensive side of the ball with the new coordinator and Jason Beck. The quarterback that he worked with last year at New Mexico, Devin Dampier, who is, gaining a lot of recognition as one of the top quarterbacks, not just in the Big 12, but in the country. The Athletic also put out a recent article that ranked the top quarterbacks in the country, and they had Dampier 25th overall in the country. So, there's a lot of reason to be optimistic about Utah's chances. And I think more so than anything is what Utah has on the defensive side of the ball with Morgan Scalley and Lander Barton and Smith Snowden. But then also they have just a tremendous offensive line led by Spencer Fano and Caleb Lomu, who are both projected as potential day 1, day 2 type NFL draft picks in next year's NFL draft. And you feel good about Utah's chances to bounce back and contend in the Big 12 championship or a conference championship.
All right, Steve, thank you so much for being with me. That is Steve Bartle. He is the Utes insider at KSL Sports.